Hey everybody, this is Steve Krause. I'm coming at you from my parents' condo, actually the patio. This is the uh, pool area that you can see, and then that's a nice view out towards some condos and the Gulf of Mexico and stuff like that. It's okay. It's nice. It's a little chilly. I'm sitting out here now, and it's maybe about 58 degrees, so you know, not exactly not exactly bikini weather. Okay, so what I wanted to do here briefly is talk with you a little bit about the research projects. I've looked over everybody's proposals, and I just want to give some overall comments in terms of where we're at with these projects and things to think about and stuff like that. Thing number one is that you want to come as close as you can as to having some sort of working thesis. That is something that is actually a debatable point about your project. Some of you are closer to that than others, and if you're not quite there yet, then you want to get to that place. I think it's important to actually have a working thesis that advocates some sort of point, mainly because I think that when people say stuff like, I want to do research, I'm interested in finding out more about how social media might be useful in teaching classes. I don't believe it when that you don't have an opinion about that already. So I'd rather have people say up front, I think that social media will not be helpful in teaching writing classes, so that your biases are obvious as you enter into your research. Now you can change your mind. I mean, in fact, that's one of the points of research is to change your mind. That's why we do research about things as opposed to just going with our gut feeling about stuff. But come up as much of a working thesis as you can. The second thing I want to make it clear is once you pick a topic, and everybody has basically picked a topic, once you pick a topic, it's yours to keep. It's not to say that you can't change within that topic. It just means that you can't completely abandon your topic. So, for example, if you start by saying, I'm going to do research on social media or something like that, you can't then all of a sudden say, now I'm going to talk about electronic grading. Okay, so this is your topic for the rest of the term, for the rest of this project. Okay, the third thing is think about this project in terms of a literature review as opposed to something dealing with subjects. And this is what I mean. I want you to, the goal for me for this project is for you to go to the library and look stuff up about the uses of writing or uses of technology to teach writing or understand what writing is. It's not for you to do surveys or studies with your students or case study interviews or things like that. Not that those research methodologies aren't valid, it's just that they're more complicated than the kind of project that I want people to do for this assignment. Look at it like this. If you were going to do some kind of project that involves studying your students or studying the way that technology might be implemented into a class or a workplace or something like that, you would have to do some kind of literature review to support the permissions that you would need for human-centric review and things like that. So think literature review, think an argument that you're making based on stuff from the library, stuff on the internet, not I interviewed people or I asked people these questions. The next thing is keep it small. Again and again, people start with these projects that are huge gargantuan topics. And I understand because that's where people have to start with these things. But you want to ultimately get this topic down to a nice, cute, little topic. The argument that I always give when I've taught like 621 in the past is you don't want a research project that looks like a big shaggy dog and shake all over the place and stuff like that. You want a research project that looks like a chihuahua or a little toy poodle. You want a project where people go, oh, that's adorable. And you really want that for this class because after all, at the end of the day, this is one small part of a 3-credit class. It's not a dissertation. It's not your life's work. So think small, and I've offered for most of you individual ways to get your project to be a little bit smaller. Okay, one last thing, and this is not so much about the research project as it is an overall something I noticed about the blogs, which is a lot of you really aren't doing them. And let me just sort of repeat what the deal is from the syllabus. I'm asking you to post to your blogs twice a week, once about the stuff that we're doing in the class, and once about your research projects. I don't think that either one of these posts should take more than about 15 minutes total each, 15 minutes total per entry, so maybe a half hour total during the course of a week, maybe. Why am I doing this? Well, The reason why I'm doing this for the research projects is because I think it's really important that you touch your research as you go throughout the semester, and that it doesn't become some sort of project that you just try to cram in the last week of class before the thing is due. That is a bad strategy. If you do a little bit as you go, and if you keep thinking about it as you go, and you keep making notes for yourself as you go, it'll make the project a lot easier. Why am I doing that in terms of the stuff that we're reading in the class? Well, the idea is that since you're all writers, you should be writing about the things that you read, and it should be reflecting on the connections of how the things that you read for the class come back and tie to other sorts of ideas and practices. It's not something you can make up, and the reason why it's not something you can make up is because these posts are supposed to happen in the moment. Um, think of it as sort of being, I mean, the only equivalency I can come up with in terms of like making up is like the same way that you can't make up quizzes that are tied to attendance in a face-to-face class. It's, you know, if you're there, you're either there or you're not. And with these blog posts, you're either doing them or you're not. It's not a huge deal in terms of points. I don't have a point system tied to it. It's part of the participation grade, which includes a bunch of other things. But at the same time, it is something that I do expect everybody to do. So if you have been negligent on doing the blog posts, and many of you have been, try to get yourself back into that and try to make it a point of picking a couple times a week in which you'll post once about the readings and once about the research project. Okay, I think that's it for now. Obviously, if you've got individual questions about your research project and the comments I made on it, please don't hesitate to ask. I mean, a couple of you have come and seen me individually to talk about your research projects, and I hope that those of you who have done that can confirm to others who have not that I try to be helpful. I mean, that is kind of my goal. So if you need help in your research, let me know. And I'm looking forward to getting back to Michigan where the weather's probably about as warm. Okay, see you online.